One man. A true soldier fights not because he hates what is in front of him, but because he loves what is behind him. Pat Akem is a patriotic Nigerian who served in the Nigerian Army and disengaged while on the rank of Major General. He is a lawyer, military strategist, leadership expert, and the host of the TV show NEXTGEN Leadership. Bagging the Postgraduate Prize from the University of Kent, he went further to earn a doctorate in criminal justice with concentration on global leadership from Walden University. He is a highly sought thought leader and is very passionate about raising the next generation of leaders who will change the trajectory of Nigeria. In the next moment, Pat Akem will be recalibrating our minds on the path to a new Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, One Man Conference 2023. With a clap ovation, please welcome Major General Pat Akem.
So let me just start by honoring the very, very senior citizens of Nigeria that are here, who have seen so much, who had great expectations for the nation's independence, and it appears as if the dreams have been shattered. I want to assure you that with engagements like this, if our generation will not witness it, the next generation will. So thank you so much for the privilege and honor. I didn't know it was going to be a paper like this. I just put down some points and I'll be talking like as I'm led. Thank you so much. Okay, let me start by saying that the 21st century has a lot of challenges, but embedded within the challenges are opportunities to be harvested. And nations with agile leaders that are agile, nimble, leaders that understand the world, are harvesting those opportunities. So we need somebody who is mentally agile, who is nimble. The two terms connote the idea of an athlete who is able to react reflexively to opportunities. They connote the idea of a striker that takes every opportunity created. We need somebody who will be engaging, who will not sleep in meetings. I'm breaking it down to the level that we can understand. Because I've been in the military. I was in the military for a long while. I mean, if you rise up to the rank of Major General and you are a regular officer, you would have stayed for at least 30 years. I have sat under leaders and I've seen missed opportunities because the leaders were not up to the task. The experiment called Nigeria has gone on for too long. It should produce results now. If an experiment lasts 60 years and it has not produced results, we need to dismantle it and start afresh. So the kind of leader we need now must be a disruptive figure. Creative disruption is what is needed now. So that is just my opening. I want to say that we need one man. And that man must be a Nigerian. It's not everybody running that is a Nigerian. And I'm not talking about being born in Nigeria. I'm not saying some are born outside. The person must be a Nigerian. In other words, he must wear Nigeria's jersey and must not play for another team. He must play for Team Nigeria. This person must wear Nigeria's jersey and play for Team Nigeria. We are looking for somebody that is weaned off ethnic cleavages and attachments. We are looking for somebody that has been weaned off religious sentiments. We are looking for somebody that is a patriot. And when we talk about patriotism, people mistakenly think that it comes by birth. It doesn't come by birth. It comes by what I term subtle socialization. It is those things that a nation does that look intangible, that are small, that are not deliberate but deliberate, that makes an individual to begin to love the nation. And it happened to me. That is why my case is very, very different. I lost my father when I was in primary school, primary 5. And if it were not for Nigeria, that would have been the end of the story. But Nigeria paid my primary school fees. Nigeria paid for me to be in college. Nigeria paid for me while I was in the Nigerian Defense Academy. I was being trained and being paid. And they took a portion of the allowances and saved them for me. So that by passing out as a second lieutenant, I already had a figure, some sort of money to sit on. So Nigeria sent me to University of Lagos to read law. Nigeria sent me to Nigeria Law School. Nigeria sent me to University of Kent. Nigeria sent me to National Defense University, Pakistan. The only time Nigeria did not pay school fee for me was when I was a Major General. I was doing a PhD. Nigeria calculated that this man would no longer stay for too long. Let's not spend money on him. So as a result of that, something has happened to me. It is called patriotic fire and favor. It comes by subtle socialization, but it must be coupled with some values. Otherwise, the generation that is running government now, they went through the same thing I went through, but they have no passion for Nigeria. They have no passion for Nigeria because that cultural thing, those ethics, those values that you are brought up with, that make you translate patriotism from the concepts, the abstract into reality, is not happening. And perhaps they do not understand that nobody goes with anything to the grave. You know, I stayed in the army and I watched too many deaths and too many burials. I served in Sierra Leone, I served in Liberia, I served in Somalia. Those were war-torn countries, and we saw that. I've realized the futility of life. The only thing you live is the services that you serve humanity. That is the only thing that you live with. So they need to understand that. So we need somebody who has energy. See, governance today is too demanding. It's too demanding for a weak person. That is why when President Biden and Trump were running, Trump was trying to paint the picture that Biden was hiding somewhere in the basement, that he had no energy. You need energy to be able to sit in meetings and listen to your ministers and be able to sensitize and understand and sift out what they are saying so that you can arrive at a decision. But we're having presidents and leaders that sleep in meetings. And when they wake up, they say, what did they say? And then because they are not mentally agile, everything sounds good. Because they are not mentally agile, everything sounds good. To the extent that it's the last person that speaks to them that carries the day. Because everything sounds good. We cannot continue like that. We are in a VUCA world. We're in a VUCA world. We're in a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. This world is characterized by black swan events. What are black swan events? They are events that are unusual, irregular, like COVID-19, like the Russia-Ukraine war in Europe. Europe never thought that there would be a war at the heart of Europe. So it's a black swan event. And those events, when they come, they are ungraspable because there is no pattern to trace them. They are complex. You can't make sense of them. When COVID-19 came, we couldn't tell whether it was airborne or whatever. But they are disruptive, and you need leaders that are agile, knowledgeable, nimble, who are curious and who are humble enough to learn. A leader must be on a journey of continuous learning, who are humble enough to learn, who are able to put teams together and create alignment and build consensus, who are able to navigate through the problems that are coming and say, well, there is a problem, but we can harvest the opportunities embedded in. We need leaders who are able to scan the horizon, the domestic environment, the external environment, to be able to pick up problems that are coming from afar off. And then they can sit down and say, these problems are coming. How do we tackle them? These problems are coming. Are there opportunities that we can harvest? People made money from COVID-19. In Nigeria, the money ended up in people's pockets. We need a leader who is consumed by his vision for Nigeria. A vision must be distinct and separated from ambition. Visions are not ambition. Ambitions are ego-driven. Visions consume the individual. We are looking for somebody who is consumed by Project Nigeria, who sleeps and thinks Nigeria. We want somebody who drinks Nigeria, eats Nigeria, thinks Nigeria. We want somebody who aspires to something greater than living a name. Excuse me, sir, what is the use of your name when you go beyond? Nobody cares. It is what you do now that matters. It's not what you do. It's not that, oh, let my name to enter on the chronicle of those who have governed Nigeria. It is totally irrelevant to us, sir. We are looking for somebody who will impact lives. We are looking for somebody who will take this great nation and expand opportunities for the youth bunch that is walking around aimlessly. 33-year-olds, 35-year-olds do not know when they are going to get married. As a result of that, our population will decline. Our population will decline because the young ladies are looking for men to marry, and the men have no power to marry. There's a guy, 35 years old, is depending on mommy for a recharge card. He can't continue like that. And in case we do not know, a huge population A huge population is an element of national power, but only to the extent that it is developed. Only to the extent that it is way developed. If you do not develop it, you are sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and that is what is happening in Nigeria. These guys, they are tired. I know because I relate with them. Somehow God has decided to keep me perpetually young, so they think I'm one of them. In fact, as a matter of fact, I dress like them. I understand them, they understand me. The reality is that we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. If you are not careful, they are going to reject the results of this coming election. And Nigeria will have problems. If they feel cheated, you are going to have challenges. I'm a military guy. I have a security background, and I understand things. I know what is going to come. It's coming like a hurricane, and people do not know it. It's coming like a hurricane, and people are sitting and thinking that it is business as usual. This thing has reached these guys somewhere here. They are tired. They are tired. I can tell you that. So we need one man that is a Nigerian that understands what strategic leaders do. Because today nations are run like blue chip companies. Leaders of nations today are C-suite persons. They run the nations with a view of presenting returns to shareholders. And the shareholders are the citizens of the nation. So we're looking for somebody who understands the world, who understands its centers of gravity, who understands the power plays around the world, and who will be able to navigate around it, who will sit in the room and be talking on the same level with the other leaders. We are looking for somebody who will be able to articulate and present our case. That is the kind of person we are looking for. We are looking for a leader. We are looking for a leader that will be able to create an ennobling vision that is exciting enough for us to follow him to. When we hear the vision, today they tell us their vision is to build infrastructure. That is not a vision. That is not a vision. And even their developmental efforts are haphazard. They are not linked together. So it's one building here. When they do a borehole, they call us to come and celebrate that they have commissioned a borehole. That is not development. We are looking for somebody in the mode of Lee Kuan Yew, who will come with a template and say, this is where I want Nigeria to be. Even if it is not during my time, the template will be on the ground. And the structures will be so concrete that nobody can tamper with them. You have to be compared to run with them. You see, there is something in the armed forces. Out of all the three services, Army, Navy, Air Force, the Air Force is the best run. And I'm an Army officer, I can tell you that because I'm dispassionate. They have what they call the Air Force standard. When a chief comes, a chief of Air Force staff is appointed, he cannot go beyond the Air Force standard. No matter how clueless you are, they will tell you the Air Force standard. Wow. Nigeria must have a Nigerian standard that no president, no matter how clueless, the institutions will be so strong. The structures and institutions will be built so strong that they cannot tamper with it. And that is why we need a disruptive person who will disrupt the Nigerian civil service. The Nigerian civil service is the enemy of Nigeria. And I'm saying that unapologetically because I don't need anything from them. They won't see me carrying the fire around, asking them to move the fire, push the fire around. That is the truth. So we need somebody who is bold enough. The person must be courageous enough to disrupt it, to break it down and rebuild it. We need a communicator. He doesn't have to be articulate. He doesn't have to be a PhD holder. And if he's one, we will thank God for it. But we need somebody who speaks when the nation is bleeding. We need somebody who encourages us and tells us the sun will rise again tomorrow. We need somebody who a tragedy happens and goes to the community and is not afraid to mix with them and talk to them and listen. So we need a communicator and a listener. We do not need somebody who gets offended that we are speaking. We need somebody that listens to us. We need somebody that is able to create alignment so that the nation is moving in one direction, not moving at separate directions. We need somebody who drives change, who understands a little bit of change management because Nigeria must change if we must move where we are going. We need a person who is keenly interested and intensely passionate about building human capital. We have too much of it and it's being wasted. We have too much of it and it's being wasted. We need somebody who will come and say, the internet penetration is too low. That if you do this thing and give us broadbands that are big enough and large enough, that the Nigerian youth does not need to go to work. He'll be in his room making money in dollars. He will be in his room making money in dollars. We need somebody who will build human capital. We need somebody who is capable of understanding strategy formulation. He may not know the text, the complete nuances and texture of it, but should be able to understand it. We need somebody who is data-driven, who is not making decisions based on emotions, who listens to the data and says, this is what the data says. No matter how unpalatable the data may be, we will work with it. For example, Nigerian leaders do not want you to tell them that there is unemployment. They want to pretend that there is no unemployment. They do not want to tell them that crime is high. They want to pretend that there is no crime. We need somebody who can look at the data and say, this data frightens me. We must do something about it. That is the kind of person we need. In other words, we need somebody who is sharp, intellectually sharp, who may not be an expert in all fields, but at least knows something. Thank you, Jesus. Then finally, we need somebody with soft skills. We need somebody with soft skills. We need somebody that has cultural intelligence and sensitivity, who will be able to understand that Nigeria is made up of many ethnic nationalities, and will be able to speak to all the ethnic nationalities and make them feel they have a sense of belonging. We do not need somebody who will carry all the appointments and give in one ethnic group. So that is why I say first and foremost that person must be a Nigerian. Must be a Nigerian. What again do we need? We need somebody that has a little bit of critical thinking abilities, who when presented a budget on a project that the budget is way embedded and built up with so many things, will be able to say, no, this money can do several projects, not just one project. He must be able to think critically to be able to handle the problems that are coming. We need somebody who is authentic. We need somebody with authentic leadership qualities. We don't want a pretender. We don't want somebody that thinks they are superhuman and cannot be corrected. We want somebody that will be vulnerable before our eyes. Somebody that can actually cry if they need to cry. When there was a killing somewhere in America, Obama went there and started singing Amazing Grace and cried. And the people joined him to cry. Sometimes crying is good. So we need somebody that is authentic. We don't need somebody who thinks they are emotionless. They are like as if they are robots. We need somebody who is real. We need somebody who is authentic enough to admit that I made a mistake. Somebody who is human, who can say, I committed errors. We need somebody who is adaptive, who is not used to saying, this is the way we used to do it, who will be able to adapt to the evolving situation, the emergent situations. We need somebody who is adaptive. We need a problem solver. Governance is solving problems. We need somebody who solves problems. Of course, I've said we need somebody with courage. We need somebody who is able to, who has a little bit of digital, who knows they are a digital citizen. The world has gone too far for us to have an analog guy who is sitting there looking confused. We need somebody who can have an iPhone and know how to work it. In the barest minimum, we need that kind of person. Look, the riches are embarrassing by way of the people that are qualified for this job. We can no longer manage an individual. It has to be somebody that stands shoulders and above, intellectually, energy, everything packaged together. And I scan the environment to see whether we have somebody like that. And like he says, if we do not have, we can have a placeholder. But we need to know that this is the person we want, so that it's not everything that comes that will look good and nice to us. If we know the kind of person we are looking for, then we can say this is the person. The person must have grit, must be resilient. Somebody that gets knocked down and rises again, gets disappointment and says life must continue. We need somebody like that. We need somebody that can own up to their mistakes. If we have that kind of person, then Nigeria will begin to move forward. So patriotism, that comes by subtle socialization coupled with values, somebody that is consumed by vision, not ambition, somebody that is agile mentally and agile physically, somebody that is nimble enough to navigate the chattered environment of a VUCA reading world. That is the kind of person we need. That one man we must find if Nigeria is to move forward. Thank you so much.